Jake Morrison stood at the big window of the space station and watched another alien ship dump its load of broken metal into space. The aliens called it giving humans useful materials, but Jake knew what it really was. They were treating humans like garbage collectors. The space station floated near Earth's moon. It was built 15 years ago when the aliens first came to Earth. The aliens said they wanted to help humans, but their help came with a price. Humans had to take their broken ships, old machines, and useless junk. In return, the aliens gave Earth some basic technology and food supplies. Lisa Parker walked up to Jake. She was the second in command of the station. Her face looked tired and angry. That's the third ship this week. Jake, the blue alien said these pieces came from old exploring ships, but I can see blast marks on the metal. These ships were destroyed in fights. Jake nodded. He had been running this station for 5 years now. Every week, alien ships came to dump their trash. Sometimes it was old computers that barely worked. Sometimes it was broken weapon parts. Today looked like pieces of destroyed warships. The aliens treated humans like they were stupid children. They spoke slowly when they talked to humans. Never shared their good technology. They acted like humans should be grateful for their garbage. The aliens think we're too dumb to figure out what this stuff really is, Lisa said. She pointed at the floating debris outside. But we're not as stupid as they think. Jake smiled a little. Lisa was right. Humans had been studying every piece of alien junk for years. They took apart every machine, every computer chip, every weapon part. Slowly, humans were learning how alien technology worked. Ben Carter ran into the room. He was young and always excited about new discoveries, carried a tablet computer in his hands. Captain Morrison, you need to see this right away. We found something weird in today's junk pile. Jake and Lisa followed Ben to the station's main lab. The lab was full of broken alien machines and computer parts. Human engineers worked at tables, taking apart alien devices with small tools. They had to be very careful because alien technology was dangerous if handled wrong. Amy Rodriguez was the station's best engineer. She stood at a table in the center of the lab. On the table was a piece of crystal about the size of a dinner plate. The crystal was not like anything Jake had ever seen. It glowed with a soft blue light, and the air around it seemed to bend and twist. "What is it?" Jake asked. Amy looked up at him. Her eyes were wide with excitement. "I don't know, but it's incredible. The energy coming from this thing is huge. My instruments can barely measure it. And Jake, this isn't like any alien technology we've seen before." Lisa walked around the table, looking at the crystal from different angles. Where did it come from? Ben checked his tablet. It was mixed in with the broken ship parts from the blue aliens. It doesn't match their technology at all. That's the metal. Around it was melted, like something very hot had been near it. Amy picked up a small scanner and pointed it at the crystal. The scanner made beeping sounds and flashed red warnings. The energy patterns are completely different from anything in our database. This technology is way more advanced than what the aliens usually give us. Jake felt a chill run down his back. Are you saying the aliens gave this to us by mistake? That's exactly what I'm saying, Amy replied, and there's more. Ben found 16 other pieces scattered through the junk pile. Parts of one machine. For the next 2 hours, Amy and her team carefully collected all the crystal pieces from the debris pile. Each piece glowed with the same blue light. When they brought them close together, the light got brighter. Jake watched as Amy laid out all 17 pieces on a large table. Can you put them together? Amy shook her head. Not yet. I need to study each piece first. This technology is so advanced that one wrong move could destroy the whole station. But Jake, if we can figure out how this works, it could change everything. Lisa was looking at the pieces with a worried expression. The aliens are going to notice this is missing. They might come looking for it. Maybe, Jake said, but they dumped it with their garbage. As far as they know, it's just more junk for the humans to deal with. Dr. Kevin Walsh entered the lab. He was the station's science chief and one of the smartest people Jake knew. Kevin had been studying alien technology since first contact. He looked at the crystal pieces, and his face went pale. My God, Kevin whispered. Jake, Do you know what this might be? Kevin walked slowly around the table. I've been studying alien history for years. The current aliens in charge, the ones who give us orders, they're not the first intelligent species in this part of space. There were others before them, much more advanced. The current aliens call them the Old Ones, and they don't like to talk about them. What happened to these Old Ones? Lisa asked. Nobody knows. They disappeared thousands of years ago. But they left things behind. Machines, buildings, technology so advanced that even the current aliens can't understand it. I think this crystal. Technology belonged to the Old Ones. Amy looked up from her scanner. That would explain why the energy readings are so strange. This isn't just advanced, it's revolutionary. Ben was checking his communication device. His face suddenly went white. Captain, we have a big problem. 3 alien ships just appeared near the station. One of them is a huge warship. They're demanding to search our facility. Jake's stomach dropped. The aliens had realized their mistake. They knew they had given humans something important, and they wanted it back. How long before they get here? Jake asked. 20 minutes, maybe less, Ben replied. Jake looked around the lab. The crystal pieces were still glowing on the table. Amy's equipment was scattered everywhere. There was no way to hide what they had been doing. Amy, how long do you need to study these pieces? Months? Maybe years. This technology is incredibly complex. You don't have months, you have 20 minutes to hide everything. Amy and her team moved quickly. They carefully wrapped each crystal piece in special material that would block energy scanners. Then they hid the pieces in different parts of the station, mixing them with regular alien junk. Lisa was at the communication station. Jake, the lead alien ship is calling us. They want to speak with you. Jake straightened his uniform and walked to the communication room. On the screen was a tall, thin alien with blue skin and 4 arms. Jake recognized him as Commander Zenth, one of the more arrogant alien officers. Hume Morrison, Zenth said in his slow, condescending voice. We have detected energy signatures from your facility that concern us. We require immediate inspection of your salvage operations. Of course, Commander, Jake replied, trying to keep his voice calm. We're always happy to cooperate with our alien friends. What specific energy signatures are you concerned about? Zenth's large eyes narrowed. Do not attempt to deceive us. Human, our sensors detected the activation of precursor technology. Such technology is far beyond human understanding and must be returned to proper authority. Precursor technology? Jake acted confused. Commander, we only work with the salvage materials you provide us. If there's advanced technology mixed in with the debris, we wouldn't even recognize it. Nevertheless, we will conduct a thorough search. Prepare your facility for inspection. The communication ended. Jake turned to his crew. Everyone was looking at him with worried faces. No, Lisa said quietly. Maybe, Jake replied. But they gave it to us. As far as anyone knows, we're just humans trying to make sense of alien garbage. Let's keep it that way. As the alien ships approached the station, Jake made a decision that would change humanity's future. He opened a secure communication channel to Earth and sent a coded message to Admiral Collins at Space Command. The message was simple. We found something. Hey, we're not giving it to them. We're not giving it to them. For 15 years, humans had been treated like servants by the aliens. They had accepted the role of galactic janitors because they had no choice. But now they had found something that could change the balance of power. The aliens had made a mistake. They had given humans a weapon they didn't even know existed. Jake Morrison was determined to make sure humanity made the most of this opportunity. The alien inspection took 4 hours. Commander Zenth and his team searched every room on the station with their advanced scanners. They looked through piles of broken alien machines, old computer parts, and twisted metal pieces. Jake Morrison followed them around, acting like a helpful but confused human who didn't understand what they were looking for. We are detecting trace energy signatures, Zenth said, waving his scanner over a pile of junk. But we cannot locate the source, Jake shrugged. Maybe it's coming from all this alien equipment you gave us. Some of it still has power cells that haven't died yet. Amy Rodriguez had done a good job hiding the crystal pieces. She had mixed them with regular alien parts and wrapped them in materials that blocked energy scanners. The aliens found nothing. After the aliens left, Jake gathered his team in the station's secure meeting room. This room was deep inside the station where alien sensors couldn't reach. The walls were made of special metal that blocked all electronic signals. "They're gone, but they'll be back," Jake said. "We need to work fast." Kevin Walsh was already setting up equipment in the room. He had brought down several of the crystal pieces from their hiding places. "I've been thinking about what Commander Zenth said. Use the word precursor. That's what the aliens call the old ones who lived here before them." Lisa Parker sat down at the table. "So these crystals belong to the old ones?" "I think so," Kevin replied. "And I think the current aliens are scared of this technology. They don't understand it, but they know it's dangerous." Amy carefully unwrapped one of the crystal pieces. Even in the dim light of the meeting room, it glowed with that strange blue energy. "I've been running tests on the crystal structure. This isn't just a power source, it's something much more complex." She connected her scanner to the crystal piece. Numbers and graphs appeared on her computer screen. "Look at these energy readings. This single piece produces more power than our entire station uses in a month, and it's been doing it for thousands of years without getting weaker." Ben Carter was monitoring the station's communication systems. "The aliens have left our area, but they've posted 2 patrol ships nearby. They're watching us." Jake nodded. "Good. Let them watch. As far as they can tell, we're just going about our normal business." Over the next few weeks, Kevin and Amy worked in secret to understand the crystal technology. They set up a hidden laboratory in the deepest part of the station. Only Jake's most trusted people knew about it. The work was slow and dangerous. The crystals contained enormous amounts of energy. One mistake could destroy the entire station. But slowly, they began to understand how the technology worked. "It's not just a battery," Amy explained during one of their secret meetings. "These crystals can store energy, but they can also focus it and direct it. I think they're part of a weapon system." Kevin had been studying alien historical records. "I found something interesting in the alien databases. There are stories about the old ones having ships that could destroy entire fleets. Ships that were invisible to sensors and could appear anywhere in space. Ships powered by crystals like these," Jake asked. "Maybe the aliens don't have detailed records about the old ones. They seem to be afraid to study them too closely." Dr. Helen Brooks joined their secret team. She was an expert in alien cultures and languages. She had been studying the markings on the crystal pieces. "These symbols aren't from any current alien language. They're much older. Think they're instructions or warnings." Helen had spent days trying to translate the symbols. "I can only make out a few words. Something about great power and final defense. There's also a symbol that appears on every piece. I think it means unity or joining together." Amy had been thinking about that symbol. What if these pieces are meant to be connected? What if they work together as one big machine? The idea was exciting and terrifying. If the 17 crystal pieces could be joined together, they might create something incredibly powerful. But they might also create something too dangerous to control. Jake made the decision to try. "We need to know what we're dealing with. Amy, can you connect to pieces safely?" Amy set up her equipment in the hidden laboratory. She chose the 2 smallest crystal pieces and placed them on a metal table. Slowly, carefully, she moved them closer together. When the pieces were about an inch apart, something amazing happened. Beams of blue light shot out from each crystal and connected them. The light grew brighter and brighter until Amy had to put on dark glasses to look at it. "The energy output just doubled," Amy said, reading her instruments. "But it's not just adding the power of 2 crystals, it's multiplying it." Kevin was taking notes as fast as he could. Crystals are communicating with each other. "Look at these patterns on the scanner. They're sending information back and forth." Connected crystals stayed stable for 10 minutes. Then Amy carefully separated them. The light faded back to normal, but now both pieces glowed slightly brighter than before. "They learn from each other," Amy whispered. The crystals actually became more powerful after being connected. Jake realized what this meant. If all 17 pieces could be connected, they would create something far more powerful than just a big battery. They would create a machine that could think and learn, but their secret work was interrupted by bad news. Ben rushed into the hidden laboratory with his communication device. "Captain, we're getting reports from Earth. The aliens have issued an ultimatum. They want the stolen precursor artifacts returned within 1 week, or they'll impose economic sanctions on Earth." Okay. Jake felt his heart sink. The aliens knew exactly what was missing. They were putting pressure on Earth's government to get it back. Lisa joined them in the laboratory. "It gets worse, Jake. The Alien Council has sent a message to every human colony. They're demanding that all humans stop salvage operations until the missing technology is found. They're trying to force us to give up the crystals," Jake said. Kevin looked up from his notes. "Or they're trying to buy time to figure out how to detect them better. Either way, we can't let them have this technology back." Amy was studying the crystal pieces with new urgency. "If we're going to lose our chance to study these, we need to learn as much as possible right now." Jake made another difficult decision. "Amy, I want you to try connecting all 17 pieces. Jake, that's incredibly dangerous. We don't know what will happen. You know what'll happen if we give them back to the aliens. Humans will go back to being treated like garbage collectors for the rest of our existence." Amy spent 2 days preparing for the experiment. She set up every safety system she could think of. She created a containment field around the crystal pieces. She had emergency procedures ready if something went wrong. On the 3rd day, she began the process of connecting all 17 crystal pieces. She started with the 2 pieces that had already been connected, then slowly added the others one by one. Each time a new piece joined the group, the energy output increased dramatically. By the time she had connected 10 pieces, the laboratory was filled with blue light, so bright that everyone had to wear special protective glasses. "The power levels are incredible," Amy reported, "but they're stable. The crystals are working together perfectly." When the 15th piece was connected, something unexpected happened. The crystals began to rise into the air, floating above the table in a perfect circle. They spun slowly, creating patterns of light that were beautiful and hypnotic. "They're forming a specific shape," Kevin observed. "It's not random. The crystals know how they're supposed to be arranged." Amy connected the last 2 pieces. The moment all 17 crystals were joined, the entire laboratory was filled with a sound. Like music, the crystals sang in harmony, their combined light creating images in the air. Jake stared at the floating crystal formation. It was no longer just a collection of old artifacts. It was a machine, alive with purpose and intelligence. "What have we created?" Lisa whispered. Before anyone could answer, alarms began sounding throughout the station. Ben's communication device crackled with urgent messages. "Captain," Ben said, his voice shaking, "long-range sensors are detecting a massive alien fleet heading our way. 12 ships, including 3 of their biggest warships. They'll be here in 6 hours." Jake looked at the singing crystals floating in the air. Aliens were coming in force to take back their precious precursor technology. But they were too late. Humans had already unlocked its secrets. "Amy, can you disconnect the crystals safely?" "I think so, but Jake, we're just beginning to understand what this machine can do. If we shut it down now, we might lose everything we've learned." Jake made the hardest decision of his life. "Then we don't shut it down. We take it with us." The battle for humanity's future was about to begin. 3 months after the alien fleet was turned away from the salvage station, Jake Morrison stood inside a secret facility on the dark side of the moon. The place was huge, carved deep into the lunar rock where no alien sensors could detect it. Hundreds of people worked day and night on humanity's most important project. They called it the Defiance Project. Admiral Patricia Collins walked beside Jake through the main construction bay. She was the head of Earth's space military, and she had been planning this moment for years. Above them, suspended in a web of construction beams, was the largest ship humans had ever built. "She doesn't look like much from here," Jake said, looking up at the ship's dark hull. Patricia smiled. "It's exactly what we want. To any alien scanner, she'd look like a typical human salvage ship. Built from scrap metal and barely holding together, they'll never guess what she really is. The ship was called the UES Defiance. From the outside, she looked like every other human ship, a collection of mismatched parts welded together by desperate engineers.
Oh, well.
Her hull was made from pieces of old alien warships, painted in different colors and covered with fake rust stains. She looked like junk, but inside, the Defiance was the most advanced warship in the galaxy. Colonel Ryan Murphy joined them on the observation platform. He was going to be the ship's captain, and he had been working with the design team for months. "The alien fleet that came to your station gave us a lot of useful parts," he said to Jake. "We convinced them to leave by pretending the crystals had been destroyed in an accident. Then we salvaged their damaged ships after they left." Jake remembered that day. The alien fleet had arrived demanding the return of the precursor crystals. But Amy Rodriguez had hidden the connected crystal formation inside a fake reactor explosion. The aliens thought their precious technology had been destroyed, so they left in anger. They never knew that humans had saved every piece. Patricia led them deeper into the ship. The corridors were narrow and looked rough, like they had been built quickly with whatever materials were available, but Jake noticed that the walls were much thicker than they needed to be, and strange energy patterns flowed through hidden channels. "The crystals are down here," Patricia said, opening a heavy door. The ship's engine room was enormous. At its center, the 17 precursor crystals floated in perfect formation. Surrounded by machinery that Amy Rodriguez had designed, the crystals sang their harmonic song, filling the room with blue light and incredible energy. Amy was there, working with a team of engineers. She had been living on the moon base for 2 months, perfecting the ship's systems. "Jake, you need to see this," she called out. "We figured out how to use the crystal formation as more than just a power source." She led them to a control panel covered with displays and instruments. "Crystals don't just produce energy. They can manipulate space and time around the ship. Watch this." Amy pressed a button. The crystal's song changed pitch, and suddenly Jake felt like he was falling. The feeling lasted only a second, then everything returned to normal. "That?" Jake asked. "Gravity control," Amy replied with a huge grin. "The crystals can make the ship lighter or heavier at will. We can also use them to create artificial gravity in any direction, and that's just the beginning." Dr. Kevin Walsh entered the engine room carrying a tablet full of technical data. "The crystals have been teaching us," he said. "Every day, we connect our computers to them. They show us new things. It's like they want us to understand their technology." Kevin had been working with the crystals for months, learning their secrets. They're not just machines. They're something like artificial intelligence, but much more advanced. They remember everything that happened to their creators, the old ones. "What happened to the old ones?" Patricia asked. Kevin's expression became serious. "They were destroyed by the current alien races. The old ones were peaceful, but they had incredible technology. The other aliens got jealous and afraid, so they formed an alliance to destroy them. But before they died, the old ones hid their technology in places where their enemies would never think to look." "Like garbage dumps," Jake said, understanding. "Exactly. The old ones knew that the aliens who destroyed them would eventually give their technology to primitive species as worthless junk. But they were waiting for someone smart enough to recognize what they had found." Amy brought up a holographic display showing the ship's weapon systems. "The crystals have shown us how to build weapons that can cut through any alien ship armor. They've also taught us how to make shields that can absorb energy attacks and turn them into more power for our own weapons." The Defiance was armed with weapons that looked like they were built from salvaged alien parts. But each weapon had been improved with precursor technology. The ship's main guns could fire energy beams that adapted to whatever they hit, becoming more powerful the stronger. The target's defenses were, Colonel Murphy was studying the ship's tactical systems. "Our biggest advantage is that we look harmless. Aliens see a human ship and think slow, weak, easy target. By the time they realize what we really are, it's too late." Patricia led them to the ship's bridge. "Like everything else on the Defiance, it looked rough and improvised. But every station was equipped with the most advanced technology humans had ever built. The ship's computers could process information faster than any alien system, and the navigation equipment could plot courses through space that would be impossible for other ships. "How many people know about this project?" Jake asked. 57, Patricia replied. "All volunteers. All people who have lost family or friends to alien cruelty. Every person on this ship has a personal reason to fight." The crew of the Defiance was small but skilled. They were pilots, engineers, weapons, specialists, and scientists. Many of them had worked on the salvage station with Jake. They all knew what it was like to be treated as second-class citizens by the aliens. Lieutenant Commander Paul Young was the ship's chief engineer. He had been Amy's assistant on the salvage station and had helped her understand the crystal technology. "The crystals have changed everything," he told Jake. "We can build ships that are faster, stronger, and smarter than anything the aliens have." Navigator Ellen Martinez was plotting the ship's first mission. "We've identified 12 locations where the aliens have dumped more precursor technology. If we can recover those artifacts, we can build a whole fleet of ships like the Defiance." Weapons. Officer Tony Garcia was testing the ship's combat systems. "The beautiful thing about our weapons is that they're powered by the same energy the aliens use. When they shoot at us, our shields absorb their attacks and make us stronger." Maked through the ship's corridors, amazed by what humans had accomplished in just 3 months. The Defiance was proof that humans were not the primitive species the aliens thought they were. Given the right tools and motivation, humans could build something that would change the balance of power in the galaxy. Communications. Officer Janet Brooks was monitoring alien broadcasts from her station on the bridge. "Captain Murphy, we're picking up increased alien military activity in this sector. They're getting suspicious about human salvage operations." Patricia nodded. "It's time for the Defiance to make her first voyage." "Ryan, is your ship ready?" Colonel Murphy looked around at his crew. They were all at their stations, ready for action. For the crystals were singing their harmonic song, filling the ship with power. "Yes, Admiral, we're ready," the Defiance prepared. To leave the secret moon base, Jake felt a mixture of excitement and fear. For 15 years, humans had been treated like servants by the aliens. They had been given garbage and told to be grateful for it. But now, humans had turned that garbage into the most powerful warship in the galaxy. The Defiance moved out of the construction bay and into open space. Her engines, powered by precursor crystals, made no sound and left no energy signature that alien sensors could detect. To anyone watching, she looked like just another human salvage ship heading out to collect more junk. But Jake knew better. The Defiance was carrying humanity's hopes for freedom. She was proof that humans could not be kept down forever. And she was just the beginning, as the ship disappeared into the darkness between the stars. Patricia Collins sent a coded message to Earth's government. The message was simple. Phase 1 complete. The galaxy is about to learn that humans are not as helpless as they appear. The age of human servitude was coming to an end. The aliens had given humans the tools for their own liberation, and they didn't even know it. The alarm bells rang throughout the UES Defiance as Captain Ryan Murphy rushed to the bridge. His ship had been on a routine mission to collect more precursor artifacts when 3 alien warships appeared out of nowhere. The mission was supposed to be secret, but somehow the aliens had found them. "Report," Murphy ordered as he took his position in the captain's chair. Lieutenant Commander Paul Young's voice came over the communication system from the engine room. "Captain, we were scanning that old battlefield for more crystal fragments. When the alien ships just appeared, they must have been waiting for us." On the main screen, Murphy could see 3 alien vessels moving toward them. The largest was a Zentari heavy cruiser, painted in the dark blue colors of their military fleet. Next to it was a smaller Valix destroyer, its red hull bristling with weapons. The third ship was a Corthian science vessel, covered with sensor arrays and scanning equipment. Navigator Ellen Martinez was working at her station, her fingers flying over the controls. "Captain, the aliens are blocking all our escape routes. They've positioned themselves to trap us here." Weapons Officer Tony Garcia was running final checks on the ship's combat systems. "All weapons are ready, Captain." but we've never tested them in real combat before. Murphy looked around at his crew. There were 37 people on the Defiance, all volunteers who had signed up, knowing they might never see Earth again. They were mechanics and engineers, soldiers and scientists. But they all shared one thing in common. They were tired of being treated like servants by the aliens. The communication system crackled to life. A voice spoke in the slow, arrogant tone that Murphy had learned to hate over the years. "Human vessel, this is Commander Vex of the Zentari fleet. You are in possession of stolen technology that belongs to the Galactic Coalition. Surrender immediately and prepare to be boarded." Murphy pressed the communication button. "This is Captain Murphy of the salvage vessel Defiance. We're just collecting scrap metal from this old battlefield. We don't have any stolen technology. Do not lie to us, human. Our sensors have detected precursor energy signatures from your ship. You will surrender the artifacts or face destruction." Murphy looked at his crew. Communications Officer Janet Brooks was monitoring alien radio traffic. "Captain, they're calling for backup. More ships are coming." Murphy made his decision. For 15 years, humans had backed down when aliens threatened them, but not today. "All hands, prepare for battle. This is not a drill." The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency. They had trained for this moment for months, but training was different from real combat. Murphy could see the tension on their faces, but he also saw determination. Tony Garcia targeted the alien ships with the Defiance's weapons. "Captain, I have firing solutions on all 3 targets. The Zentari cruiser is the biggest threat." "Fire at will," Murphy ordered. The Defiance's main guns opened fire. To the aliens, it must have looked like a desperate human ship firing whatever weapons they could cobble together from salvaged parts. But the reality was very different. The energy beams that shot out from the Defiance were powered by precursor crystal technology. They adapted to whatever they hit, becoming stronger when they encountered heavy armor or powerful shields. The first volley struck the Zentari cruiser's shields, and the alien ship shook under the impact. Commander Vex's voice came over the radio again. This time he sounded confused. "Impossible. Human weapons cannot penetrate our shields." The Defiance's weapons were not human weapons. They were precursor technology, thousands of years more advanced than anything the current aliens possessed. The second volley punched through the Zentari ship's shields like they were made of paper. The Valix destroyer tried to ram the Defiance, hoping to destroy the human ship before it could fire again. Into the ship. The precursor crystals could manipulate gravity and space around the vessel. Ellen Martinez activated the gravity controls. Suddenly, the Defiance seemed to slide sideways through space, avoiding the Valix ship's attack. The destroyer's weapons fired at empty space where the human ship had been a second before. "Are they moving like that?" the Valix captain transmitted. "Human ships can't maneuver that fast." Tony Garcia fired again. This time, his target was the Valix destroyer. The energy beam struck the alien ship's hull and began cutting through its armor like a hot knife through butter. The destroyer's engines exploded in a shower of sparks and debris. The Corthian science vessel was trying to scan the Defiance with every sensor they had. They wanted to understand how a human salvage ship was destroying their warships. Precursor technology was beyond their comprehension. Paul Yom was monitoring the ship's power systems from the engine room. "Captain, the crystals are working perfectly. They're actually getting stronger as the aliens attack us. Their energy weapons are feeding power into our systems." This was the most amazing part of the precursor technology. The crystals could absorb enemy attacks and convert them into more power for the Defiance. Every time the aliens fired at the human ship, they were making it stronger. The Zentari cruiser fired its main guns at the Defiance. The massive energy beams struck the ship's shields, but instead of destroying the human vessel, the attack was absorbed by the precursor crystals. The Defiance's weapons became even more powerful. Murphy watched as his ship's energy levels climbed higher and higher. "Tony, fire everything we have at the cruiser." The Defiance unleashed a devastating attack. Energy beams, plasma bolts, and particle rays all struck the Centauri ship at the same time. The cruiser's armor melted away like ice in a furnace. Weapons exploded. Its engines went dark. In less than 30 seconds, the pride of the Centauri fleet was reduced to a drifting hulk. The Corthian science vessel tried to escape, but the Defiance was too fast. Using the precursor gravity controls, the human ship caught up with the alien vessel and disabled its engines with a single shot. "Commander." Vex's voice came over the radio one last time. His arrogant tone was gone, replaced by fear and confusion. "This is impossible. Humans don't have this kind of technology. Where did you get these weapons?" Murphy pressed the communication button. "We built them from the garbage you gave us. Thanks for the raw materials." No battle was over in less than 10 minutes. 3 alien warships representing the best that the Galactic Coalition could offer had been defeated by a single human vessel that looked like it was built from scrap metal. Janet Brooks was monitoring communications from across the galaxy. "Captain, news of our battle is spreading fast. Alien military commands are going crazy trying to figure out what happened here." The crew of the Defiance celebrated their victory, but Murphy knew this was just the beginning. The aliens would not ignore what had happened. It would send more ships, bigger fleets, and more powerful weapons. But Murphy was not worried. Precursor crystals had shown them something important during the battle. Every time the aliens attacked, the crystals learned from their weapons and became stronger. The more the aliens fought against humanity, the more powerful human ships would. Bama Dr. Kevin Walsh had been studying the battle data from his station on the bridge. "Captain, the crystals recorded everything about the alien weapons and tactics. They're already showing us how to improve our own systems." Amy Rodriguez's voice came over the communication system from the engine room. "Ryan, the crystals are singing a new song? I think they're happy. They've been waiting thousands of years for someone to use them against their creator's enemies." Murphy looked at the 3 disabled alien ships floating in space around them. Soon, salvage crews would arrive to strip them of useful technology. The aliens had given humans garbage for 15 years. 3 alien warships defeated with no damage to our vessel. The precursor technology works even better than we hoped. The message included all the battle data and tactical information the crystals had gathered. This knowledge would be used to build more ships like the Defiance, each one more powerful than the last. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity was no longer the helpless species that aliens could push around. The humans had found weapons in their garbage, and they were not afraid to use them. 8 months after the Defiance won its first battle, Admiral Patricia Collins stood in the command center of humanity's new Space Fleet headquarters. The facility was built inside a large asteroid that humans had hollowed out and hidden in the outer solar system. Around her, dozens of screens showed the positions of human ships across the galaxy. The numbers were impressive. 63 ships, all built from alien garbage, and all powered by precursor crystal technology. Each ship was stronger than the most powerful alien warship, and more were being built every week. Admiral Ryan Murphy joined Patricia at the main display screen. He had been promoted after his victory with the Defiance, and now he commanded all of humanity's combat ships. "The latest reports from our scout ships are very interesting," he said. 5 more alien species have asked us for protection agreements." Patricia smiled as she looked at the tactical display. "Which ones this time? The Kelrani Republic? The Tharsis Alliance? The Free Worlds of Sigma 7? The Independent Colonies of Vega? And the Mining Guild of the Outer Rim? They're all tired of being bullied by the big alien powers." The transformation had been remarkable. For years, small alien civilizations had been pushed around by the powerful species that controlled the Galactic Coalition. Centauri, Valix, and Corthian empires had forced weaker species to give up their resources and accept unfair trade deals. But now there was an alternative. Humanity offered protection to any species that wanted to be free. From coalition control, the humans shared their improved technology freely, giving smaller civilizations the weapons and shields they needed to defend themselves. Dr. Kevin Walsh had become the head of humanity's technology sharing program. We're not giving anyone the precursor crystals, he explained to Patricia. But we're sharing everything else we've learned. Better engines, stronger armor, more efficient weapons. It's enough to level the playing field. The Coalition's response had been predictable. They had tried economic sanctions first, cutting off trade with human colonies. But the sanctions hurt the aliens more than they hurt humans. Earth had found new trading partners among the species they were protecting. Then the Coalition had tried military intimidation. They sent their largest fleets to threaten human worlds, expecting humanity to back down like they always had before. Instead, they found themselves facing human warships that were individually superior to anything they could build. Amy Rodriguez had been promoted to head of ship construction. Her teams were building new vessels at an incredible pace. "We can complete a ship like the Defiance every 10 days now," she reported, "and each new ship is better than the last one. The precursor crystals keep teaching us new things." The crystals had been humanity's greatest teacher. Every time humans connected their computers to the crystal formations, they learned new technologies. Better weapons, stronger shields, faster engines, more efficient life support systems. The knowledge seemed endless. Chief Rodriguez brought up a holographic display showing the newest class of human warship. "We call them the Guardian class. They're twice as large as the Defiance and 3 times as powerful. The first one will be ready for testing next week." Patricia studied the ship's design. Like all human vessels, it looked like it had been built from salvaged alien parts. But she knew that appearance was deceiving. The Guardian-class ships could take on entire alien fleets and win. Lieutenant Colonel Ben Carter, now in charge of intelligence operations, brought Patricia a report from his spy network. "They're starting to panic. 3 of their member species have already switched sides and joined our protection network. The intelligence reports made for interesting reading. The alien powers that had controlled the galaxy for centuries were discovering that their empire was built on fear, not loyalty. When smaller species had an alternative, they quickly abandoned their oppressors." Dr. Helen Brooks had been studying alien political structures. "The Coalition is starting to fall apart," she told Patricia. "Their whole system was based on keeping weaker species dependent on them. Now that those species have human protection, they don't need the Coalition anymore." The breaking point came when the Coalition decided to use overwhelming force against humanity. They assembled the largest fleet in galactic history, over 200 warships from 6 different species. The fleet was commanded by Admiral Zenth himself, same alien who had searched Jake Morrison's salvage station months earlier. Battle of Luna lasted only for hours, but it changed the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Admiral Murphy commanded the human defense from his flagship, the new U.S. Liberty. He had 37 ships against the Coalition's 200. The odds looked impossible, but Murphy knew something the aliens didn't. Every one of his ships was powered by precursor technology that got stronger when attacked. "Let them come," Murphy told his fleet commanders. "The more ships they bring, the more powerful we become." The Coalition fleet approached Earth's moon in a massive formation, expecting to overwhelm the humans through sheer numbers. Admiral Zenth broadcast a surrender demand on all frequencies. "Humans of Earth, you have stolen technology that does not belong to you. Surrender immediately and return all precursor artifacts to their rightful owners. Refuse, and we will destroy your homeworld." Murphy's response was broadcast across the galaxy. "Admiral Zenth, you gave us this technology yourselves. Called Garbishan told us to dispose of it. We're just putting it to good use. If you want it back, come and take it." The battle began with the Coalition fleet firing everything they had at the human ships. Thousands of energy beams, plasma bolts, and missile warheads struck the human vessels. For a moment, it looked like the aliens might actually win through sheer firepower, but the precursor crystals absorbed every attack. The energy from 200 alien warships flowed into 37 human vessels, making them incredibly powerful. When the human fleet fired back, the results were devastating. Each human ship could now match the firepower of 10 alien vessels. Energy beams cut through Coalition ships like they were made of paper. Entire formations of alien warships were destroyed in minutes. Admiral Zenth tried to retreat when he realized what was happening, but it was too late. The human ships were faster than anything in the Coalition fleet. One by one, the alien vessels were hunted down and destroyed or disabled. When the battle was over, the Coalition fleet was nothing but wreckage floating around Earth's moon. Admiral Zenth's flagship was captured intact, along with several other important vessels. The aliens who had once treated humans like servants were now prisoners of war. Jake Morrison, now promoted to admiral in charge of salvage operations, supervised the cleanup after the battle. "Look at all this useful scrap metal," he joked, as his crews began collecting the debris from destroyed Coalition ships. "The aliens are still giving us raw materials, just in a different way." The political consequences of the battle were immediate. Within a week, 12 more species had left the Coalition and asked for human protection. The galactic government that had controlled space for 1,000 years was collapsing. Communications officer Janet Brooks, now head of humanity's diplomatic corps, was busy negotiating with representatives from dozens of alien species. "Everyone wants to be our friend now," she reported to Patricia. "They're offering us trade deals, technology exchanges, and military alliances." But the most important change was in how aliens treated humans. For the first time since first contact, alien representatives spoke to humans as equals. They used respectful tones and asked for favors instead of making demands. Patricia Collins stood at the observation window of the asteroid base, watching human ships patrol the solar system. Earth was now one of the most powerful worlds in the galaxy, protected by a fleet that no one dared to challenge. Dr. Kevin Walsh joined her at the window. "You know what the best part is?" he said. "We did it all with their garbage. Every ship in our fleet was built from technology the aliens threw away." Patricia nodded. "I thought they were getting rid of old junk. Instead, they gave us the tools to build the most feared warships in the galaxy." A communication alert sounded throughout the command center. Janet Brooks announced that representatives from the Coalition Council were requesting a meeting with human leadership. After months of threats and ultimatums, the aliens finally wanted to negotiate. "Put them through," Patricia ordered. The holographic display showed 3 alien figures: a Zentari admiral, a Valix diplomat, and a Korthian scientist. They all looked defeated and desperate. Admiral Collins, the Zentari spokesman, began, his voice lacking its usual arrogance. "The Coalition Council wishes to discuss terms for a peaceful coexistence agreement with humanity and its allied species." Patricia smiled. After 15 years of being treated like cosmic janitors, humanity was finally being offered a seat at the table as equals. "I'm listening," she said. The age of human servitude was over, or the galaxy would never be the same.